Yeah, I think I don't know what was happening, but I was getting a phone call and my animal hit me in the leg, and I don't know, but my phone stopped recording. But the whole situation is that the thing about the feed, I was the NEG, for my situation, for what I do and the information that I have collected, I find that my farm runs the most reasonably, just in terms of just maintaining my farm and running my farm at the most realistic capacity that I can. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh my God, I need to feed every single one of these animals exactly 2.3% of their body weight a day. And, and if I accidentally mess up and feed them 10% more, then they're going to have massive amounts of diarrhea and acidosis, and then now I need to mix in a certain amount of ionophores into their feed every day too. And if I don't give them this ionophore, they're going to get sick, and I don't do that kind of stuff. I just find that the most reasonable way for me to run my farm is to feed these animals about I would anticipate about 3.25% of their body weight a day. They have access to grass all the time. I give them their grain mixture. If they're having diarrhea, if they're showing signs of acidosis, I give them more hay. That's the most realistic way, reasonable way that I have found to run my farm. And so I would anticipate, from the information that I have collected, that at a 4.9 NEG, that's almost perfect for a 3.25, 3.0, around feeding them about 3% of their body weight a day. A 4.9 NEG is almost perfect. And if they're showing signs of their manure clumping up, I can give them a little bit of corn. I can give them a little bit of distiller grains. If they're showing signs, I don't really want to feed them distiller grains when they're having 16% protein, but maybe a little bit, maybe if I mix it with some hay or whatever, and if they're having acidosis, and I can just feed them some more hay. That's my feed plan. That's what I'm gonna do. Right now I'm gonna be switching over to a grain pellet. The commodity markets are very good. Even if I full on feed these animals a grain pellet, I will still make myself about $2,500 a month. I would anticipate that I still make a net profit of about $2 to $2.5 or $2 to $2,500 a month, which is not very good. But what am I going to do? Make it warm, right? I mean, the temperature is dropping tomorrow no matter what. Not tomorrow, but next week, the temperature is dropping no matter what. So I can't make it warm outside. And if I can't, and realistically, for me to grow grass, like if I'm going to grow grass, it needs to be like 50 degrees outside, at least 50. All right. If it starts dropping under 35, it just gets too cold and the grass won't grow. And so even if I fertilize it, whatever I may do, it's not going to grow. And so I need to figure out, what am I going to do? And I'm going to put these animals on a grain pellet. I'm going to, sometimes I feed, depending on, the situation, I give all of the diet rations that I use for free. I give away the information for free. Sometimes I'll feed soybean and corn. Sometimes I'll feed grass, distiller grains, and corn. Sometimes I'll have these animals on a middle development of grass, right? Whatever it is that I'm doing, I just give you the information for free. All right, I give you the information for free because I said, why not? Right? I mean, and realistically, right now, these commodity conditions are probably not going to last forever. If the feeder cattle market goes down by 30%, or if the corn market goes up by 30%, or if they both happen at the same time, effectively something like this is not going to work. You can't make money feeding, and I've already talked about this in terms of a broader idea. But the thing about utilizing the commodity markets, and realistically, to make money in the commodity markets, more efficiently, you have to do something like this. Something like this, where you're feeding the animal 2.3% of their body weight a day, and you're still gaining 3.6 pounds. That's the kind of stuff that you have to be doing, in terms of, you have to really dial it in to be, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to measure out 2.3% of their body weight a day. I don't want to have to take, I don't want to have to take feed samples every other day. I don't do that. All right. And if you want to be in the feed yard business, then go and watch somebody who's in the feed yard business who actually is very good at it. And you're going to find that it's I don't do that business. All right. You're going to have to measure your feed. You're going to have to, get a feed calculations like every other day. If you don't measure out exactly how much your animals are eating, and if you accidentally mess up and you feed them too much, they'll bloat to death. You'll have a lot of acidosis, a lot of problems. okay? And so, me, I'm not in that business. Right now, I'm going to be in the business because I can make money in it, but reasonably, I would anticipate that this kind of situation, it only works out about 33% of the time. And in reality, if the corn market goes up, the feeder cattle market also goes down at the same time. Usually they're on a counterbalance. So you almost always, when the drastic happens, when the corn market goes skyrocketing, the feeder cattle market is going to fall as well at the same time. And then that's called the double whammy. I call that the double whammy. And if the double, when the, not if, but when the double whammy happens, the feeder cattle business will no longer be profitable. Not for people like me. For people like me right now, when corn is at 450, right? Corn is very low, and the feeder cattle market is sitting at like all-time record highs. Sure, I can make money by feeding cattle. I can still make myself a couple of $1,000s a month. But realistically, I want to be growing grass, all right? And and if you took the amount of money, and then you took the fertilizer calculation, and you ran the numbers, you would find that the fertilizer, growing grass is substantially cheaper. I mean, we are talking about like even right now when the grain market is low, growing grass is still like 10 times cheaper than feeding grain. Legitimately, like 10 times cheaper. And the corn market is very low. And if you want to, get an estimate of how much your fertilizer is going to cost you, and you're growing a winter wheat, and you use the 5:1:3 ratio, that's effectively about 9 units of fertilizer. 9 units of fertilizer in total. But you're not going to be using 5 pounds of nitrogen. It's not going to do anything. You're probably going to be using closer to 30 to 35 pounds of nitrogen. And if you use 35 pounds of nitrogen, and then you add the phosphorus and the potassium as well, I mean, you're probably going to be using somewhere around, what's 35 divided by 5? 7, that's 42, and then 30, you'll be, more or less, you'll be using about 50 or so units, right? A 50, 60, something like that, 70, something like that, units of, what's 513 times, 513 is 9, and then multiply that by 8. So you'll be using 72 units of fertilizer. And if you consider the price of a unit of fertilizer by calculating urea, right? Just going to your local commodity yard, go to your local fertilizer yard, and call them and ask them what is your cost for a tonnage of urea. And if they say it's $5.50, then you can buy you're effectively buying 92 units of fertilizer for what is that? If you 200 pounds of urea, 200 pounds of urea would be 10% of a tonnage. And 10%, 200 pounds of urea would be about 92 units of fertilizer. So so if you take 500, so you're paying about $55 for 92 units of fertilizer. And you need about so per acre you need about 70. So per acre you're going to be using about about 40, and that's when the weather is good, when it's 24 degrees outside. For the love of God, do not fertilize your field. You're just wasting your money. If it's 24 degrees outside, there is no reason to fertilize your field. If there's not going to be substantial, if you're not looking at your weather and you're going, I actually anticipate that there's going to be some movement of a positively charged fertilizer into the soil profile, or you're not going to plow your field or anything like that, then don't put positively charged fertilizer on your field. Is not going to do anything. All right, sit there and really think about it. All right, I give all this information away for free. Just sit there and really think about it, and if you have to, you write it down, okay? And then you come up with a good plan, and then you go and do it. You figure out how much money is going to be involved, what's it going to cost you. Oh, if I want to put I anticipate that I'm going to get 1 inch of rain this week, and that's going to be it, and it's going to be about 50 degrees outside. And so I want to put a negatively charged fertilizer on my field. I want to put this many units on it. I want to put 25, 30, 40 units of nitrogen on my field. What's that going to cost me? About $250. And if I put $250 worth of fertilizer on my field per acre, or if $250 worth of fertilizer on my field, I'll get about 2 to 3 inches of the grass that grows in, and the animals will eat it. And then my animals weigh this much. I anticipate that my animals are going to be valued at this much at the market, and if they eat this diet, then they're going to put on this much weight. And if it costs me this much to put on that weight, and I anticipate that they're going to make this much money, you know, in a month, and when they weigh that much, then this is how much profit I'm going to make. What is my net margin? Take a look at it, and then go for it. All right, you know, that's how I do things. That is legitimately how I do things. I'm not giving you the wrong information. I'm not leading you astray maliciously. This is legitimately how I run my business. And when you take a look at my business, I probably make more money on I can almost guarantee you, I actually make more money on a 10.5 acre field than a majority of people that farm 500 acres makes. I make more money on my 10.5 acre field than most people make on 500. All right, I probably make more money if if you took the average American and put everybody, everybody that person and everybody that individual knows in a room together. I probably make more money than everybody combined. All right, you got to take a look at it for what it is. All right, and so that's it for me today, YouTube. Y'all have a good one.